sit it, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics from Kanye to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. What a great show we got for you today.
I'm excited, Trev.
With the 6th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select who, Ted?
Zion Williamson, baby. Let's bring him to New York.
Hey, if we should seriously consider trying to go to check out a Duke, North Carolina game and see, or maybe an NCAA tournament game, and maybe Dave Gettleman could try to get Zion Williamson.
Hey, if he isn't going to go...
And bring that superstar back to New York. You lost one, but guess what? Maybe you try to get Zion.
The Knicks wanted him. Maybe the Giants can borrow him for a weekend.
Hey, everybody wants to say Bo Jackson, Kyler Murray, Deion Sanders. Well, what about Zion? Zion could be a multi-dimensional player. He could play in different sports, right? I mean, I know it's crazy. It'll never happen, but just imagine that. Just imagine that.
What I saw last night was thoroughly and magical. It was impressive. 13 for 13 last night, 29 points, 14 rebounds, 5 steals. I sent you a video on Snapchat last night, and it was off a rebound. I think it was his when he was 12 for 12 right there. One-handed, palmed it, put it right back in.
He is unreal.
He is a different.
You heard Jim Boeheim.
Person.
You heard Jim Boeheim. He said he's seen some great players.
Jay Billis said last night.
He's different, but he's completely different from guys like Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, Charles Barkley. This guy's impact, his viewership, people that have not even watched college basketball this year are watching because of Zion Williamson.
You know who just popped in my head and we've never said it? Is he the Tiger Woods of college basketball? And you're like, what do you mean, Ted? Well, we were driving up here and we were listening to the show, and they were talking about Tiger Woods playing in a tournament this weekend, how much the crowd was into, the ratings jumped drastically. We've talked about it before a year ago when he came back on the show. Zion Williams' impact is like no other. The closest thing that I could think of, and we joked and laughed about it all last night at 1 o'clock in the morning on Twitter, was it's either Zion or LeBron. Zion or LeBron back and forth. It's like, hey, LeBron just went to the bathroom. Hey, Zion just,
Look, if I'm a Duke fan, I'm excited that he's back. I'm glad he made the right decision. And folks, he did make the right decision to come back. You heard him.
He's the best player I have seen in college basketball, probably in my lifetime. I have never seen anything like him. I think the closest thing that we would have ever seen like this would have been LeBron James. You know, Jay Billis made the statement last night, God made all men equal. Well, he must have skipped a step or dropped an extra potion or something in that DNA system, because Zion looks nothing like anyone else on that court. And at 18 years old, it's like looking at like LeBron on the court. They look like different men.
Look,
and they're skilled at a whole different level.
What he's doing is great. I love it. But this is just supposed to be a little, we thought about it. Imagine if the Giants ever actually did something like that. If Zion ever came out, where he'd be in the NFL draft, probably be a top 3 pick. I'm saying
I think that's a little too high.
Maybe, but still, I would say top 3 pick. It's a possibility he could be very high up on people's boards. But speaking of NFL draft, free agency.
Well, hold on. Before you say that, we were going to post a poll question, and it just as a hypothetical.
Not yet.
What position would you want him to play? DN or tight end? That's it.
Are you done? Are you done?
I'm never done.
Well, you should. You probably should stop.
Why?
Drink your coffee.
No, Let me get back to me.
So, I've been hearing this whole week, since Tuesday. And as we know, Odell Beckham Jr. is now a Cleveland Brown. And at first, when you see people go ballistic, and I was at first, when I found out, I got a text from our guy, the LeBron guy, our guy Petey. He texted me, Trev, tell me it's not true. I'm like, what's going on? I'm thinking he's like joking around or something. He says, did the Giants really do it? And they traded Beckham. And then I get the breaking news. At first, I was stunned. I was speechless because, look, folks, I never thought the Giants would ever trade Odell Beckham Jr. But the more you looked at it and the more you saw people freaking out, I was like, you know what? I actually like this trade. Saying that I'm done being a Giant fan. You one of them. hearing you
I
say
never
that.
said I would
You
not.
Did.
I
You
did
said,
not
I'm done with the Giants. I'm done with it. You stated it. Don't. No. There is facts. You put it on Facebook. You posted it.
I did not say I'm done with it. I did not say I'm done.
You did.
No, I did not.
Do you want me to go look at it?
Yeah, I did not say I'm done with the Giants.
You did.
I did not.
You did. Don't back away from.
Where did I say I was done with the Giants?
In one of your comments, I swear to God, you said I saw it and I was like, you know what? It's kind of disgusting to see that fans. This is what we want to talk about: player loyalty. How about fans' loyalty nowadays? Fans always want to be like, I'm not a fan of this team anymore because of the factor of this player. You're telling me that one player changed your whole view on an organization that you probably started from birth. Now all of a sudden you're not anymore because of one player. Then were you really a fan anymore?
You know,
were you really a fan?
Yeah, I am true fan. I was an overreaction because when you texted me,
overreacted.
I was sitting in the break room and I could not believe it. I was very upset. I really was upset.
So was I, but I wouldn't go that far to what people are saying.
Most explosive player that they've had on this organization since they drafted Lawrence Taylor. Now, I know Barkley is going to be the face of the franchise. I know that he is a class act. We'll get into all that with the free agent frenzy, the Jets, the Giants, other teams. But I reacted in the sense like I'm done with it. I'm like, what are we doing? Because the way I looked at it was, and I was compiling everything, Trev, in the last week. When you let go of your best defensive player, Landon Collins, for nothing, you let him walk. Because I feel like this was all... It wasn't just one move. It was a combination of things that led me to make that idiotic statement. Mm-hmm. And then you changed my mind. And then listening to other people, Of course I have
to change your mind.
But then listen to people how they bash the Giants, like really like. And I'm like, you know what? That's not who I am. That's not what a true fan does.
It seemed like at first you were,
because you're so upset because guys like Beckham are generational talents.
100%. T.
Guys like him do not come around that often. I'm sorry, but there's maybe one or two receivers in the league that are even close to Beckham, and that's Julio and DeAndre. Antonio Brown might have the numbers, but
talent-wise, skill-wise,
genetically,
he wasn't.
It's not. Listen,
he wasn't gifted like those other players. Antonio Brown is great, but he wasn't gifted like a Julio or an Odell Beckham.
We talk
Jr.
about it like. Remember the old days when they used to talk about Randy Moss? It was like Chris Carter was great, but you ever hear Chris Carter talk about Randy Moss? It was like he was a different guy. Randy Moss was a different specimen. He would just glide right by you. He was just bigger, fat. It was just, that's what I look at Beckham, just a generational, and you don't find that. Now, you also made a good point, and
I'm on fire today.
It comes back to how our father brought us up. You don't win with one player. You win as a team.
According to Giant fans, we were, I don't know, another player away from competing for a Super Bowl and and it's funny because I watched a clip of Vic DiPietro, the Giant avid fan. He said, "Oh, like we were a dynasty in the making or something." We're not nearly even remotely close to that.
We were clueless as fans to think that we had a shot to make the playoffs. Odell Beckham is a generational talent, but as I pulled up in the post, and it said, his antics for not between the team. He was a good teammate. The teammates loved him, but it became too much of an issue with the team. And Gettleman, I'm quoting Gettleman in the paper. He said, part of the job of a GM is the responsibility of a GM is to eliminate distractions. And the reason why I say that is because the Giants signed him last year because he earned the right for that contract. Through his first 4 years,
there was almost no one better.
Even in the history of receivers.
Statistical wise, we see that. But as fans nowadays, all we look at, and when Beckham got traded, everybody just looks at the catches, the stats,
the highlights.
Well, you look at the highlights, just like, and that's the problem with. It's funny. You posted the question, and then you see everybody responds. The newer generation. What are the Giants doing? They're idiotic. They're stupid.
Well, that's what I said. I said the Giants just traded. And I said, hold on. I said the Giants just traded Odell Beckham. What are the Giants doing? And then I got like 90 comments.
And that's the newer generation's view. Whereas you get the old timers that say, "Good, get rid of him. He's done. He wasn't fit for New York.
He wasn't a cancer to the team."
No.
Here's the thing: if you ever played any type of sport, you know what I'm talking about. Some guys are just great teammates, but as a personality, they're too much to handle through coaching or management. And when you're a professional athlete, the Giants have a certain expectation. We just saw it in Pittsburgh. We see it with the Giants. The Giants want a blue-collar, no-nonsense, class act guy. No, they want Saquon Barkley, who's not going to call all his teammates. You said it this year. Said it. When you don't have,
just keep saying it. Keep remotely saying. Keep saying it.
You don't have You don't have the pizza video. No. You don't pee in the end zone. Now I know it seems all stupid little things, but those things add up. 10 little things equal one big thing.
It kept adding up. It was always something and something. One catch equaled more issues, more boating incidents, or something like that. It always was, yes, it was great to see what Beckham always produced on the field. When he got the ball, there was nobody more explosive and exciting when he caught the ball. We know that. But it was always more of the antics, the negativity that came with Odell Beckham Jr. And everybody wants to point the finger at Gettleman and say he's this, he should be fired. I saw people saying a petition to impeach Gettleman. You do realize, folks, this has to go through the owners, right? Like, this has to go through the mirrors. So if you want to blame Gettleman, you better blame the mirrors too then, on top of it. And everybody wants to go, and it's amazing. This will all come back to Eli Manning.
I know exactly where you're going to lead with this.
This guy was going to be praised and loved until the day he retired. Now, I believe when he gets out as a New York Giant quarterback, there will be people celebrating, excited, partying, and will be thankful that he's gone. And in a matter of a year and a half to 2 years, all those views on Eli Manning have drastically changed from when they the backlash that the Giants received when they benched him in Oakland to where he is now. Those are the same fans.
It's just you're right, because it is comical. Because
stay true to your word. That's the problem with fans nowadays. They don't stay true to their word anymore.
When Eli Manning got benched, it was an uproar. I mean, it was the biggest story for a week until he got his job back. And then when the Giants played home the next week, I mean, signs, thank you, Eli.
Standing ovations. Now we're going to be having them boo him probably in week one.
And now that we have released, let's see, our two best defensive players and our best wide receivers or second best offensive player, however you want to rank them, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you think. What matters is Eli Manning's getting paid $23 million, and everyone says he's a failed quarterback at 38 years old.
We've established that, yes.
We know that, and you just let go of a 26-year-old generational wide receiver. You just let go of a 26-year-old safety.
One of the best safeties in the game.
Top 5, and you let go of one of your best pass rushers. And you're like,
your best pass rusher.
So you're like, I know, it doesn't make sense, but they're not going to cut Eli because where is your solution? If you draft a quarterback at number 6, he still is not going to be better than Eli will be starting day one. He might be by the end of the season, but it takes time, folks. If you know anything about football, it takes time. Sam Darnold, do you remember his first pass last year? Trying to throw across the field.
Pick 6, baby.
Pick 6. He was a much more improved quarterback at the end of the season than he was, and it takes time.
And speaking of Sam Darnold, we'll talk about the Jets in a couple minutes and those moves that we do like. The New York Jets making some great moves this offseason. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We're Keys to the City. Thank you for listening, watching, sharing as well, commenting. You can follow us at YouTube, Keys to the City. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter at Keys to the City. 2 more things about this whole Odell Beckham until we shift over to the Jets.
Can I just say the one thing?
Oh, what else is to go on? You're already on a roll.
Well, no,
you're on a roll. I can't stop him now.
I was going to put it in one kind of big basket, and to sum it up,
big bowl of food.
Well, when you look at it, it's 3 major players that the Giants have just let go.
Yeah.
What bothers me the most in it was the Landon Collins thing. I was really upset.
It bothers me more about Landon Collins than
because
Beckham.
You can make all the excuses. He didn't do well in coverage. Last year, he missed the last 3-4 games. The year before, he missed a game. Mm-hmm. I understand that. We can make excuses to the day we die. But when you decide to just let him walk for nothing, when you could have franchise tagged him and then traded him during the process, at least hold on to him. But now by letting him go, the best you're going to get is probably a 2020 compensatory 3rd-round pick. That's what the value is right now, what it looks like they're going to get next year for the Giants, for him. I think the Giants could have got more for him, But when you lose a player of his value at his age to a division rival, I think that stings a little bit more. Hey, Vernon's going to the Browns, okay? So is Beckham. It's not as hurtful. If Beckham or Vernon were going to the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Redskins, or someone inside the NFC that we were going to have to face, or the Patriots, it hurts that much more. And I think you have to compile that as one group. You have to look at it from the other side, though. What did the Giants receive in this? They received a starting Pro Bowl guard who last year was ranked by Pro Football Focus the number 6 rated guard, the number 1 pass rating guard for pass protection. You got Jabril Peppers, who is 23 years old. And Trev, I remember when he got drafted.
Yeah, I love him.
You wanted him over Evan Ingram.
And it's a great move, and I'm happy that they got a younger player like a Jabril Peppers.
Then you got a first-round pick, the 17th pick. You got a third-round pick. And I did not realize this reading the post today. When the Giants traded Zietler for Vernon, they gave up their fourth-round pick for a fifth-round. Now because of the Beckham trade, they got back their fourth round and gave back the Browns a fifth. So you got to look. The Giants now have 12 picks. And if we learned anything, like the Dallas Cowboys have, you build through the draft. You don't build through free agency. Shut up. Don't give me that face.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Anyways.
Thank you anyways?
Thank you. Thank you for that spew of information.
Oh, why? Because you're perfectly right everything?
Never. Nobody's perfect, bro.
You think you're always right.
I'm never no, compared to you, I'm never right.
No, I give you credit. I give you
three
credit
things with this move. It shows to me that the New York Giants are going back to New York Giant football, which is getting back to winning inside the trenches. Everybody has a plan. And that was the biggest problem. The Giants tried to replicate everybody else. And you want to see why the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants were in the situations that they are now and why they were never really being successful. Because they got away from what they were once great at. Pass rush, running the football, controlling the pace of the game, tempo of the game, and winning inside the trenches. And that was not the Giants. And the Giants, for 5 years, once they got Beckham, got away from that.
And the Giants never won a Super Bowl with a superstar.
No, and they're going to build with their 22-year-old running back, Saquon Barkley. And no matter what you want to do, and Bash Gettleman, he knows what he's doing as well. He's getting back to New York Giant football, winning inside the trenches. They're going to have a better offensive line.
We're not positive that we know what he's doing unless after the draft. He's got to hit a couple home runs in the draft.
But he's going back to New York Giant football. The New York Giants were doing everybody else what they were doing for the past 5 years. They were replicating everything else. Like everyone else was a passing league, it's this and that. But that's not the New York Giants. They won Super Bowls on pass rush, winning in the trenches, and running the football. And they're getting back to that. And it could all change if they make a move at a quarterback or draft a quarterback. That could all change too. Also, when Dave Gettleman came here, he inherited a mess. He hasn't, right now, maybe most people will say that he hasn't made it any better, but he inherited a mess. He got rid of, if you think of all the players, Ted, name me all the players that they've got rid of in the past year, Ted. In the past year, who has the New York Giants gotten rid of?
Everyone except for
name me the specific players that have gotten traded.
I'll just name the three this year: Collins, Vernon. Oh, it was Eli Apple. It was Snacks, Jamison Harrison. It was Vernon. It was Collins. It was Beckham.
That's 5. What did they all have in common?
They were all from the Jerry Reese. And it was on Michael K's show the other day. The Giants only have one remaining player from Jerry Reese's thing, and that's Zach Diassi, the long snapper.
Dave Gettleman is trying to erase the Jerry Reese era. He's doing it his way, and that's what people have to understand. They're inheriting. That's fine. They inherited a mess, and he's trying to fix it. Maybe different than other fans want, but it's different. And my final point. Remember a year ago when we bashed John Gruden for doing the same thing, but he traded Khalil Mack and got a first-round pick? And everybody's like, oh, man, that's not even close to what he got. Well, look at the Raiders now. Making some moves. Going to have 3 first-round draft picks. And maybe the Raiders will be back in another year or two, and then we'll be calling Gruden a genius. So, people, about this whole thing, my final point is relax, have faith in your team, and for God's sakes, if I hear people say, I'm done with the Giants, I'm not a Giant fan anymore, guess what?
See you later.
It's just childish.
See you later.
We don't want to see you if they're winning, okay? Childish, and were you really ever a fan then? Go on.
No, I was just going to ask. I thought you had the average. The last 4 games when Beckham did not play, the Giants scored 40 points against a playoff team, the Washington Redskins.
Contending, yes.
Yes, they had an awful game. 0 points against the Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Then they scored 27 against the Colts and then 35 against the Dallas team, which were all playoff teams.
All teams that were in the playoffs are contending for a playoff. The Giants averaged 26 points a game without Beckham. I know Beckham makes a hell of a lot better team, and they put points on the board with another weapon like him. But folks, just be patient, have faith.
And when's the last time a team won the Super Bowl with a star receiver?
I can't remember. Everybody wants to say Jerry Rice. Well, he did have a great quarterback, and he had
line, defense, Michael Irvin.
So fans, as I said for one more time, have faith, and for God's sakes, stop acting like children and being this new generation of loyalty. There's no more loyalty in fans anymore. And that's the sad part. We always like to blame players for being not loyal. We have no loyalty as fans anymore. We're sticking with your team. I will bleed Big Blue to the day I die. I don't care who they trade. I don't care what happens. I will bleed Big Blue till the day I die. Let's shift over to the other New York team. From one New York team to another, a team that's going in complete rebuild mode. People might want to think not, but they are going to be looking to the future. Whether that's Josh Rosen or Dwayne Haskins, the Giants are looking to the future. A team that is already going in the right direction of their future is the New York Jets. And you got to give a credit to them. And I commented, I posted it. The Jets have had a hell of an offseason so far. And I love some of the moves they made. But can we really go crazy? I mean, think about it. What if the Jets never did? I know it's hypothetical. They got him. But what if they never, ever did get Le'Veon Bell? Would we really be talking that much about the New York Jets right now? Think about it. He was the number 1 player coming out into free agency this year. He wanted to be a Jet all along. The Jets gave him the money. He didn't get as much money as the Steelers offered him. But he's a New York Jet. The New York Jets get him, C.J. Mosley, Jamison Crowder. They have stout players now that they could build around their franchise quarterback. And you know what? That's why I'm very pleased. If you're a Jet fan,
and they also got the guard from the Raiders in a trade.
One of the best guards in the game, too.
Now, he had a bad year last year because of injuries, but the year before that, and the 2 years he was with the Ravens, he was one of the top-rated guards. That's why he got the big contract from the Raiders. It's a physical, pounding ground guard who can open holes for Bell. Jamison Crowder makes a lot of sense.
Slot receiver. Adam Gase likes those lots of receivers.
He's had, Jarvis Landry, Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, all successful guys in Adam Gase's scheme. They love to use the slot. Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell. That's a nice.
This is all about getting Le'Veon Bell, though.
Well, of course.
This is a game changer for the New York Jets offense. Jamison Crowder is nice, and the pieces they got, and C.J. Mosley is nice. But if they didn't get Le'Veon Bell, I'm telling you, it'd be a whole different thing we're talking about with the New York Jets. They needed to get Le'Veon Bell. They needed to strike on Le'Veon Bell. They needed to hit a home run with them, and they did. They trounced. They went all in on him.
Well, they had to.
But
get him. A lot of that had to do with Anthony Barr re-signing.
Oh, that was
with the Vikings. They were looking to get him as an outside pass rusher, go back to where he was successful at UCLA, why he was drafted so high. I like the move from C.J. Mosley, but I read stuff from the paper. I really do think the Jets overpaid for him. He's a good linebacker.
I mean, the money that he got.
He's a very good linebacker.
Money he gets.
Only 1 year since he's been in the league, he's had less than 100 tackles. But every year he's a 100 tackling guy. $51 million guaranteed, 5 years, $85 million.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the Jets trying to fix the mistakes. They brought in guys to replace guys that haven't. Devin Smith never worked out. Adarius Stewart never worked out. Jermaine Kearse overplayed his thing. They brought in Osemele to replace James Carpenter at guard. They really haven't found
all these guys. They haven't hit on the butt.
They haven't found a center to replace Nick Mangold. They brought in.
They haven't hit on draft.
They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2015 when both Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall. The Jets are trying to build. Listen, they got a power guard. Okay, they got a guard. The key is, though, they got their quarterback in Sam Darnold. They got their franchise quarterback.
That's key, but they also got a huge weapon.
And I think, like what the Giants did last year when they drafted Barkley, you tried what's the best friend, and other than a tight end, is a stout running back. Le'Veon Bell,
Man's best
up
friend is
until
not a
last year,
dog.
was
It's
the best running back for 3 years in a row.
Man's best friend is not a dog. It's a
He
tight
can
end.
do everything. Le'Veon Bell will make Sam Darnold's life and the Jets' offense flow. He will make them go. They have a nice tight end already, a young tight end in the making.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Mosley is going to be a nice leader in their defense. They overpaid last year for Tremaine Johnson at cornerback. They still need to, but you got to look at this.
Sometimes you overpay on guys you think are going to pan out to be good. I mean, Tremaine Johnson was good up until last year.
They have Leonard Williams, which is a very good Pro Bowl caliber D lineman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see what they do in the third pick. Will they go with the outside pass rusher,
gonna
Josh
go with
Allen,
I believe,
or do they go with Quinnen Williams?
They should go with a pass rusher.
Of course, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if they trade back and get more capital. Also, you got to look at this. Now you got C.J. Mosley. So now you're building. If you're looking at the team, it's like a baseball team. You build right up the middle. Your catcher, your shortstop, your center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Your center fielder is Jamal Adams, one of the best safeties in football. Now you have your middle linebacker in C.J. Mosley, a leader. You know, a guy that's going to get you set up in the correct defense.
Quarterback of your defense.
And now you have a defensive lineman, Leonard Williams, and with an opportunity at the third pick to either trade back or take one of the top 3 prospects, defensive pass rusher. You don't know. Maybe Bozo will be sitting there at 3. You never know what happens if someone trades up with San Francisco to go get the quarterback in Haskins.
Mm-hmm.
But you have opportunity to grow. The Jets are looking up. For the first time in a while, the Jets fans have something exciting to look forward to going forward in their second season.
100%. If you're a Jet fan, I'm very excited. I'm very excited because you got all the major pieces that you need right now. You have a quarterback. You have a huge weapon now, like a safety blanket. You could call it Le'Veon Bell a safety blanket because he will be Sam Darnold's safety blanket at times. You have the number 3 pick as well. You can hit a home run with that as well. You think about that. The Jets. How about the Browns and the Jets? 2 teams that have been laughingstocks for quite some time now are in good positions to be successful. Maybe not the Jets yet, but you're going to see improvement with them. But with the Browns, too. This is a team that was 0-16. 0-16 last year.
And now, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years technically. They were 0-16.
And now we're talking about Super Bowl.
And now we're talking about possible Super Bowl candidate. Really? Look at those teams now. Amazing how far those teams have come. But that's what a good draft can do. And that's what free agency could help. And making big moves. And taking risks. And you know what? About this whole... I'll get back to the Jets in a sec, but about with the Cleveland Browns specifically. And we talked about this early in the year, and it was like, did the Browns make a good decision when they first selected Baker Mayfield the number pick? You know what? I loved it. And I told all of our fans that John Dorsey took a chance on Baker Mayfield. And you know what? It panned out. Most touchdowns as a rookie quarterback. Finished second in rookie. If it wasn't for Saquon's amazing year, would have been the rookie of the year. But he took a chance. He got backlash for it, but he stuck to his guns. And that's what he did with the Odell Beckham trade as well. They took a chance on a guy that is maybe the most talented player in all of the NFL. But with that talent comes a little baggage. But you know what? John Dorsey took another chance. John Dorsey is a genius. And look where the Chiefs are because of John Dorsey. You want to talk about one of the best GMs in all of football? If you don't have GM John Dorsey in the top 2, you got an issue. Because if you've seen the past 2 teams of what he's done, the Chiefs are a Super Bowl contender now because of trading up and drafting Patty Mahomes. And the Cleveland Browns
and who else? That we had breaking news this morning. Who else did he also draft? And Toledo.
Well, he drafted Kareem Hunt as well. He will be suspended, but he took a chance on him as well.
He's only suspended for the first 8 games.
First 8 games, but he took a huge chance on Kareem Hunt as well, knowing what the backlash he could have got with that and the baggage that comes with him. So John Dorsey, if there's one guy that is got to be the best GM in all football, you got to put John Dorsey's name in that category because right now the past couple moves that he's made and taking the chance. And that's the most important thing. He took chances. And you have to take chances in life. And I'm not even talking about football. I'm talking about in life in general. You have to take chances. You cannot say, what if? And John Dorsey ain't saying what if. He says, screw it. I'm going all in. I got a franchise quarterback. I'm going to get him weapons. I don't care about baggage or problems or issues. I'm going to go get this talented receiver. I'm going to go get this talented running back. And you know what?
Because if
John Dorsey is a freaking genius.
Because if it could pan out. And you know another guy, not to take away from the Browns, but you know another guy that's done this in his career and doesn't get this, no one says anything? It's Bill Belichick. How many times has Bill Belichick taken guys, Randy Moss, Chad Ochocinco, Josh Gordon,
Albert Haynesworth.
These are Albert.
Even though they didn't work, some of them didn't work, but they took a chance.
Listen, but if they pan out, think about this. Randy Moss panned out. Remember what Randy Moss did with Tom Brady, folks?
Yes,
I know they did not win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that.
Probably should have.
But statistically wise, them together, that was the best year Tom Brady's ever had when he had Randy Moss.
Hey, Steve, they should have never fired John Dorsey. That's the problem. Yeah, he got fired, but guess what? I guess he's going to make another contender in Super Bowl.
Now, listen, I know it's fantasy-like thinking about this, but think about the Browns' offense just by itself for right now. They have Jarvis Landry on one side, Odell Beckham on the other side, with David Njoku as the tight end. Then you can go to a two-back set with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's a little more of a pounding back. Kareem Hunt, you could do anything. You could put him in the slot. You can flank him out. You can use him all over the field, especially in third down. And you got a quarterback in Baker Mayfield who likes to stretch the field, who's got a little bit of a gunslinger mentality and is very accurate. He isn't accurate. That was one thing coming out of Oklahoma he was very good at. And they have a decent offensive line. We'll see how they handle the offensive line going through the rest of free agency and through the draft. But then you look at their defense. You have Myles Garrett on one side, a very good pass rusher. I wouldn't call him elite yet, but he's right there. He's right at the edge of being an elite pass rusher. Mm-hmm. You have Olivia Vernon on the other side. I know he didn't live up to expectations with the Giants. He was injured. But if he can stay healthy, that's two, kind of bookends that can really... And then you have Sheldon Richardson, that at one time was one of the best D tackles in the middle. You have pieces there. You have Denzel Ward. Another very good corner. They've hit on pieces, and that's why the Browns have now become a Super Bowl favorite, which I think is a little absurd right now.
It's a little absurd because we're not gonna go that far. But from my point from the John Dorsey saying he's a genius, you got to think this team was 0-16, the laughingstock of the NFL, no direction. I don't know if this team was going to win again. They took a chance on a guy that could have been a second or third round pick in Baker Mayfield, and he panned out to be pretty good for his rookie season. Now this is going to be, the ball's in his court. This is massive for Baker Mayfield.
I want to tell you now. One of our fans said, "Let's hold up on the genius part until he wins something."
Well, exactly.
I know, of course.
But if you win,
it covers up everything.
From where this team was 2 years ago to where they are now. And that's because he took chances. So it looks like he's doing a hell of a job and he's doing well. And Kansas City should have never let him go. I'm just saying. I know he got fired, but hey, guess what? Probably should have never let him go.
Hey, Bill Belichick got fired from the Browns too. And other guys have gotten fired and then been successful at other places. If Dave Gettleman works out all this caramba crazy stuff that's going on with the Giants, if the Giants hit on the 6th and the 17th and the 12 picks they have in this draft, guess what? Dave Gettleman got fired by Carolina. We're not going to have the same. You won't have the same thought process of him. You'll be like, wow, Dave Gettleman knew what he was doing. He was very smart. So we won't bash him in that same retrospect. Mm-hmm. You have to look. I know it's a wait and see game. I think there's too much hype right now in the Browns. I told you last night, could the Browns be the Pittsburgh Steelers? And you say, well, what do you mean? I said, a super talented team, but they never won anything. We've been talking about the Steelers for the last 3 or 4 years, and maybe we want to talk about them, but they've been probably one of the most talented teams, but you would say, Ted, they haven't won anything. And you're right. They haven't won anything. The Pittsburgh Steelers now, though, have just lost their best receiver and best running back all in 1 year. Their team will still be good, folks.
Let's pump the brakes on the Browns. I'm not saying, look, I'm not one of those people that are going to think the Browns are going to the Super Bowl next year because we all know there's a team.
But I think there's a chance that they will be a wild card team. They will be a wild card.
There's a team in Massachusetts that if you just forgot about them, like, hey, they just won the Super Bowl.
Don't say hey.
Again. Hey, you just
hello, 6 rings.
No, it's not just hey. Just remember us. We're still here.
Well, and you also got to look at Kansas City, and you also got to look at the Chargers.
The Steelers. I would still have them over because they're playing the underdog role. And you know what? I always like the underdog role. It's always a good thing to be an underdog. Let Cleveland have all the fun and buzz because they should.
And we've seen you don't win the Super Bowl in March.
They have a star-studded fantasy offensive lineup. If you like fantasy football and you like Madden 2020, you're gonna love playing with the Cleveland Browns.
Who would have ever thought want to play with the
That's
Cleveland
what I'm saying. John Dorsey, look what he's done in 2 years with them. Look at the Jets in 2 years. Both teams were laughingstocks of the NFL. No direction. Got pushed around. Now you got two teams that are going in the right direction.
The biggest key for Cleveland will be Freddie Kitchens. How does he handle all these egomaniacs in one locker room?
It's him, but it's also Baker Mayfield because now you have probably, other than Julio Jones, the best weapon in all of football, and Odell Beckham Jr. on your team now.
Yeah, I think key pickup, and no one's talking about, is Steve Wilkes, the former head coach of the Arizona. He has that experience. He will be the defensive coordinator. Bringing that experience, because that's what it really comes down to. The coaching
staff. Don't forget, they got Vernon too. They got Vernon and McGarrett.
And I'll relate this to the Patriots. The Patriots and Bill Belichick, the way he's able to have his coaches in a teaching mentality, bring them up because everyone wants to have the Patriots guys. I mean, you think about it. If you want to talk about the Patriots, last year, Nate Soldier, highest paid tackle. Go on. See you later. They draft a tackle, win out of Georgia. What happens? He gets hurt, Achilles. Boom, done for the season. What do? They trade a 3rd-round pick for Trent Brown. He becomes the highest paid tackle now for the Oakland Raiders.
Don't forget about Trey Flowers.
Got rid of Trey Flowers. He works for New England.
He almost got a $100 million contract.
Now he goes to Detroit. Now, the only good thing is Matt Patricia's taking him, and he's aware of what he can do.
Of course.
So it's not like it's a different coach.
That's why he went. That's where he ultimately probably signed there because of the
Danny Amendola, gone. I mean, you look at the guys that they've lost. Malcolm Butler, gone.
Remember Jamie Collins?
Cleveland.
He's actually he's not on Cleveland.
I know he's gone.
Actually a free agent now.
Deion Lewis. All these guys that the Patriots continue to lose.
Exactly. So
they don't miss a beat.
That's why I'm laughing every time somebody says, when people are like, "Oh, the Patriots offseason are like, are the Patriots going to be?" I'm like, folks, we have this conversation for the past 5 to 6 years, or past 20 years, but specifically the past 5 to 6 years, we've had the same conversation
about the Patriots.
It's just, is it going to end? Folks, no, it's not ending. I said it back in Super Bowl week. It's going to be an NFC team versus the New England Patriots. I'm sorry, Cleveland's not getting to the Super Bowl next year. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not getting to the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs are not getting to the Super Bowl. And the Indianapolis Colts and the Chargers are not getting to the Super Bowl. The New England Patriots will be in the Super Bowl again next year.
Well, they'll have 6.
Mark my words.
They'll have 6 wins in their division.
Somebody could bet me right now. If my guy Steve Risser is watching, we'll make a bet right now. The New England Patriots will be represented.
He's got Indy to go to the Super Bowl.
That's fine. I will bet you right now the New England Patriots will be in the Super Bowl again next year against an NFC team. I do not know.
You think they're going to make the Super Bowl? I could see them being the number 1 seed. Indy's not going to the Super Bowl.
The Colts or if the Patriots get the number 1 seed, you can almost wrap it up.
And
it's over.
So I want to go to this because I saw Steve wrote this, and I want to stay active with the people that watch
us. Of course,
and
go
Steve
ahead.
Always says to us,
"Thank you, Steve."
By the way, and I'll ask you this, and you could try to answer: I told Trev, I'm very kind of. I've wondered this whole offseason, what are the Colts going to do? They had the most free agency in money, or the most salary cap.
Cap space.
I'm a little at night right now. But
you're a little off right now. I'll take the helm.
Who have they gotten to better their team? The Colts had the most money. That's what we were talking about. The Jets and the Colts had the most money. The Jets have gotten better. They got the elite running back, and they got an elite middle linebacker. And I told Trev,
Oakland Raiders third. They got help
That's something
too.
I thought the Colts should have done. Their offense was set up really well. I would have, and I want to go to the Colts. 2 moves I would have loved to see the Colts make this offseason. One is I would have loved them to sign the wide receiver from San Diego, Tyrell Williams. Explosive wide receiver. He's got the size. I would have loved him as the number 2 going opposite of T.Y. Hilton. That would have been a nice 1-2 punch. Give Andrew Luck another weapon on the outside. And then I would have loved to see them take C.J. Mosley. And you say, why? I like another middle linebacker to team up with Darius Leonard. I looked at it and I told Trev, kind of a Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, a 1-2 combo, something that the Cowboys have with Kyle Van Der Esch and help me out.
Jalen Smith.
A young, athletic, skillful linebackers. You know, the Colts, what they needed to work on was defense this offseason.
I'm glad
they haven't gone after any big free agents, and I'm just wondering where they're looking to go.
I'm glad
free agency.
I'm glad you brought up the Colts because we're going to shift over to so far the offseason has been pretty hectic. A lot of moves, a lot of big names going, a lot of big contracts as well being displayed. Woo, boy, I would love to have some of that money. Just give me $500,000. I'll be good. I'll be good. Trust me, I'd be happy.
5,000.
No, yeah, give me like 5,000 right now. I'll take that. These guys are getting massive contracts. So, free agency's been going on, and we want to know. I want to ask some of the followers and fans, who do you think have been the winners, and who do you think have been the losers? But we'll first start with, always you got to start with the winners. You always got to start with winning. So I'm going to ask you, if you have like two teams, if you have one team, that's fine. If you have another team, that's fine. Who would you say right now, up until March 15th? Now remember, the NFL season just started 2 days ago. But who is the winners right now in free agency? And in trade, you can put the trades as well. Add that all in.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd put two teams, and it's two AFC teams. And this might be, I'm going to start with the Raiders. Now, I know we could say Trent Brown's overrated. Listen, a lot of guys are overrated once they leave the Patriots. It's like, hey, they work well. They're an A+ student in the Patriot system, but then they go to some other team and they just become an average player. If Trent Brown can pan out, he's like the biggest human being ever, 6'7", like 380 pounds. If he can block the backside of Derek Carr.
Can you imagine being that big?
And give him time to protect. You got to like the Antonio Brown trade, a 3rd and a 5th round for Antonio Brown. If you can get 3 to 4 or 5 good years out of him, listen, he's still a high caliber player. And maybe this will rejuvenate him, and maybe, all the kind of antics and BS that happened in Pittsburgh will change once Oakland. Mm-hmm. People probably say, probably not. But you know what? He got paid again, which I think a lot of that had to do in Pittsburgh that he did not get paid. He's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. Plus, you get Tyrell Williams, another number 2 guy. You have 2 threats on the outside. You're younger. And then also you get Marcus Joyner, a very good safety, can play in the slot, can play free safety. So I like what the Raiders did in Mike Mayock. And you also got to add this. You got to add the 3 first-round draft picks that they have. That has to be part of the factor of an offseason because that's a lot of draft capital and opportunity to grow. And if you hit on 2 or 3 of those picks, now you're looking at a Raiders team that could compete next year.
Exactly. And you just said,
and then the other thing,
and imagine a year ago we were destroying Gruden, saying he should already be fired.
Absolutely.
And now look at them a year later.
And Derek Carr 2 years ago wasn't MVP caliber. He was going to be the MVP.
If he didn't get hurt, most likely. Didn't get hurt.
So let's not knock Derek Carr. Let's give him an opportunity. He's got weapons now. Let's see what happens. And the other one is the Browns.
No, let me go. Let me pick mine.
Go ahead. I said 2 teams, but I was going to go with the Browns.
I'll go one at a time. Let's go one at a time.
Well, go ahead.
Let's go one at a time. I got a player. I don't have a team. And you just said the team. It's Derek Carr. Because this was a guy that was probably going to be traded. A lot of trade rumors throughout. But you know what? You just got Antonio Brown. I think this is going to be better off for not Antonio's career. It's going to be better for Derek Carr. Because now you have a legitimate... I know you had Amari Cooper. But trust me. Derek Carr is a winner because of all the signings you just said. You get Trent Brown, I know it's a massive contract. You get Antonio Brown.
Listen, every guy gets overpaid during free agency. It's the way free agency. Olivia Vernon got overpaid. Tremaine Johnson got overpaid last year. It happens in free agency. That's the way the game is.
Silence. Let me make my point.
I know. I'm just saying.
Shut it.
No, well,
I'm going to get tape.
Saying,
I need tape.
Well, somebody said all the Raiders guys were overpaid. Of course they are. That's what happens
in free agency. But that's what happens in free agency every year.
Doesn't mean you win the Super Bowl.
Landon Collins got overpaid.
I will say this, though. The Giants, when they went all in for Snacks and Vernon.
We loved it at the time.
It got them to the playoffs.
Derek Carr, you want to help your free agent, your franchise quarterback? You put pieces around him to protect him, and you put pieces around him to give him weapons. And Derek Carr is a big winner of this offseason so far.
I would have loved to see
his coach. Yeah, that would have been a home run.
Tyrell, that would have been if they could hit Le'Veon Bell.
But that would have been massive. But you get to, like you just said, 2 great receivers. You get Antonio and then Tyrell Williams. But also your coach stuck with you. They were saying that he was going to get traded. He was on the way out. They didn't want him. That's still to be determined. But right now, John Gruden, Mike Mayock, They're sticking with Derek Carr, and Derek Carr has to be a winner. I know there's teams that win, but if you look at a player, Derek Carr is a massive, massive winner. What was your other?
No, I was just going to say the Browns.
The obvious.
Well, the obvious is the Browns because and this is a big if, okay? Beckham has missed 21 games playing for the New York Giants, and that's significant because they showed a thing last night. Now, I know a lot of people are not high on the Golden Tate trade, or I meant the free agency, excuse me. But he's missed one game in the past 3 years. Five seasons? Thank you.
Since Beckham has been in the league,
he's missed one game, and Beckham's missed 21. So, as Herm Edwards says, you do no good to me if you're sitting on the sidelines. You're only good when you're playing, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, if Beckham could stay healthy and Olivia Vernon could stay healthy, those two guys will make substantial value to the Browns and will get them over the top. That being said, it should be an interesting season because you look at that AFC North now. The Bengals look like the bottom team. The Steelers have dropped off, but they're still the Steelers. And folks, if you think the Steelers are automatically not going to be ready for next season, considering what happened this season with them not making the playoffs and all the BS that's going on, they're going to be motivated. And the Browns have never had pressure like this. The expectation in Cleveland now is to win. When's the last time any fan can remember that Cleveland was expected to win?
We associated the same words of Cleveland Browns and winning. It's been a long time.
It's been a very long time.
It's been a long time. Since I probably didn't have facial hair.
You probably weren't even born, bro. You probably weren't even born.
Well, the last playoff game was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was way, way long. With Tommy Maddox, they came back and they ended up losing the playoff game.
That was the same. That was on Saturday, and the Giants blew the next day against San Francisco. I know that. That was one of the craziest weekends.
I was crying.
The Browns, right then and there, it was like the worst loss.
Yeah,
wow.
And now and it's been that long. It's been that long. But you said it right. It's about winning now. It's about there's no going this way for the Browns. It's all up. That's it. For me, the other winner is another player. It's easy. It's Sam Darnold. I mean, for Le'Veon Bell to sign with you. Now, even if the Ravens weren't going to sign him, if there was an offer, he was still going to take the Jets. So what does that say to you? That Le'Veon Bell likes Sam Darnold more than Lamar Jackson. Wouldn't you think Le'Veon Bell, Lamar Jackson, that running... Can you imagine that duo of Lamar Jackson and Le'Veon Bell? But he chose Sam Darnold over Lamar Jackson. Even if Baltimore
never offered him a contract.
But if they did, he still would have taken Sam Darnold. He could have taken the run.
Well, he also was
the dual threat.
It was in the paper,
Lamar Jackson.
The Post. He was a fan of Curtis Martin and was a fan of New York from the time he was a kid.
His family was Pittsburgh fans.
He was a New York fan.
He was always a New York Jet fan. He was taking the New York Jets no matter what. So Sam Darnold, you want to talk about Derek Carr? You get the weapon. You get the biggest weapon out in the market, the free agent market. No bigger than Le'Veon Bell. One of the best backs, if not the best back up until last year in the NFL. And you just helped franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold. And you gave him weapons in Jamison Crowder as well. And now you got the third pick. Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, huge winners so far in this early NFL offseason.
And when you said that, it kind of rolled into my loser. And it's a combination of the Giants, Washington. You know, you said Le'Veon Bell was a huge fan of the New York Jets. Well,
Lana Collins
was a huge fan.
So was
Sean Taylor.
Who's the loser?
The Giants, it's a combination. The Giants losing a safety at his caliber is a huge loss. And I make it even worse because it's a division rival. But I combo this because the Washington Redskins way overpaid for Landon Collins. They made him the highest paid safety in entire football. And he's not the best safety in football.
He's one of the good ones, but he's not the best.
He's one of the good ones. I feel like you're saying something from the Bronx. So yeah, he was.
No, he's one of the best in the league, but he is not the best for the money that he got.
So the Redskins overpaid for him, like the Redskins always do, and like everyone does in free agency. They overpay for players. And when the Giants have to face him twice a year, that's a loser. The other loser I have, and I have to say, it's got to be the Colts. Because with all the salary cap, you could have made moves. You could have went to go get Le'Veon Bell and added that type of weapon. You know, listen, the running backs they have are nice, but they're not Le'Veon Bell. You could have gave that type of player, to Andrew Luck, something he's never had. You could have got Tyrell Williams, maybe the receiver out of San Diego. Now, Steve said, Philip Rivers made him. Well, guess what? Don't you think Andrew Luck would make him pretty well too? And then having that 1-2 combo with T.Y. Hilton, that'd be a nice 1-2 combo. Here's the other thing. You needed improvement on defense. I haven't seen any signings on defense. Now, I know there's still a bunch of guys left, and you might be able to get some good value. Maybe they go get Sue. Maybe they go. But C.J. Mosley, he's a difference maker. You team him up and put him at middle linebacker.
He got a huge, but he got a huge contract tag
I know,
for a middle linebacker.
I know.
We talk about Collins getting a huge contract, but C.J. Mosley got a massive contract too.
But then teaming him up with Darius Leonard. 2 young linebackers, 2 studs in that cover 2 defense. You got Malik Hooker coming back. I don't know. I think the Colts.
What do you mean you don't know? You got to know.
Well, I don't know what the Colts are doing because you figured they were a few pieces away from getting to that next level, and they haven't improved.
I'm pretty sure Chris Ballard knows what he's doing from a team that was also.
Hey, listen, that's why he's in the position he is, and I'm sitting here in CSB talking about
from a team that, like the Jets and the Browns, that were in no position to win for now, to where they are now as a playoff team and a contending team for possible Super Bowl. Chris Ballard knows what he's doing.
How can I not call a team a loser for not doing anything in free agency when you have holes and things that you could have filled? Now, yeah, you could do it to draft, but when you have $100 million in salary cap,
somebody saying there's no loser? It's like
Steve said there's not a loser.
So it's like the participation trophy thing, I guess. Then, right? There is losers if you don't sign people, if you lose people, if a player doesn't get what he wants.
Here's my question:
like that is
starting with the Colts from the end of the season to now. Have the Colts gotten better?
I know the word doesn't sound great, loser. It's not a nice word, but
have the Colts gotten better? That's the question. Have the Colts gotten better? They have not, and they had the opportunity to get better. Unlike the Patriots and the Giants, who did not have salary cap and who lost players. And I don't worry about the Patriots because the Patriots will find a way, and they have a ton of draft picks this year. What are the Colts going to do to get over the hump? Because when I look at the Colts right now, do you look at the Colts as a better team than the Chiefs? I don't, because they got their butts smacked in Kansas City. I still think the Chiefs are better. I think the Chargers are a better team, and I think the Patriots are better. So that's 3 teams right now that are better than you, that you're trying to get. And we all know the Colts play better at home in that dome than they do out on the road. So if they haven't gotten better, then they're stagnant. Doesn't mean they've gotten worse, but they are a loser. If you haven't bettered yourself, you've plateaued. And in today's day and age, we've seen, are you trying to get better or worse? Because the Browns have gotten better, and they have a young quarterback. Andrew Luck, how are you making Andrew Luck better? Mm-hmm. Not many teams can beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots and just think, we can just get anyone and put them in, and we're going to be successful. Just saw a breaking news on article. GM for the Green Bay Packers said, we are all in on Aaron Rodgers.
That was definitely a winner in free agency too, is the Green Bay Packers.
Because they're a team that realizes Aaron Rodgers has a few years left too. Mm-hmm. He's gotten multiple injuries. You got to win. That's what it's about. Don't you want to win? Your legacy.
Especially for a team that's competing. I mean, we're not talking about teams that are in rebuild mode. Yeah, they're in rebuild mode for a reason. But teams that are right there at the cusp of making a chance to get to a Super Bowl and even win a Super Bowl, you got to go make that. You got to make moves. You got to make the right moves. But I do have faith in Chris Ballard still, because he is one of the great young GMs in the league.
I don't look at Devin Funchess was awful last year. Devin Funchess was awful in Carolina.
What did he say? He said it was a good hire.
He's not a good number 2. Ask any Carolina fan. I'll ask my buddy Pat Clapp. Devin Funchess was not that good.
Yeah, if you think Devin Funchess is a good,
go read Bill Barnwell's article on ESPN. It was like a D+.
D+. 1
year, $13 million. You could have got something a lot better for a cheaper deal. And usually for a $13 million, it's usually a 2-year option. So if he performs, I don't see that.
Okay. Let me pick my...
But hey, listen, everyone has an opinion. I totally understand it. Listen, in today's day and age, everyone has an opinion.
Stop talking before I poke you with my pen. My loser is another quarterback. It's Ryan Tannehill. Still not signed by a team. Look, when we think of Ryan Tannehill...
Uncle Jerry would be like, great.
Who cares?
Don't care.
Ryan Tannehill, man, this is a guy that the Miami fans thought could be possibly their franchise quarterback. Still haven't figured that out down there. That's a team that is probably. I think the Miami Dolphins
Tank
as
it
a
for
whole
Tua.
is
Tank it for
is in
Tua.
a position right now that's in a loser position right now, just because they haven't been able to do anything. They lost Danny Amendola, released him. They're getting rid of Tannehill. They don't have a quarterback right now.
They're the only team that doesn't have a quarterback.
Like, I know the Giants want to get bashed because we have Eli Manning, but the Giants at least have a quarterback for now. The Dolphins don't have anybody. What are they going to do? Are they going to trade up? Are they going to stay at their position in 13 and maybe get hope that one of those guys fall, or Haskins or Locke falls to them, and they take them? The Dolphins are in serious trouble right now. There's no direction with them as well.
I like the Ebron thing, to Steve, who asked, what was the opinion on Ebron coming? I like that. Listen, we saw what he did with Andrew Luck last year.
Obviously, it was a great pickup.
It was a great
pickup. He went to the Pro Bowl. He was a Pro Bowler. Had second most touchdowns in the league.
And I don't know if a lot of people have read it. The New Orleans Saints are making moves right now. You know, they're bringing in Jared Cook. He's going to be could be a valuable tight end.
I also want to say a loser. My final loser is also it's Le'Veon Bell. Because he could have got mammoth of a contract from Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know he got to go to the team that he always wanted to, and that's the New York Jets. He got his contract, and everybody wants to say it's not about the money, it's this, that. He wanted the money. It was always about the money for him. There's a reason why he sat out. He didn't get the contract. He rejected that. Took a lot less than what he could have got. Now, I know like I said, he's with his childhood team. He's not with a better team. He's not with a better team than the Steelers. If you think the Jets are a better team than the Steelers, then you should probably go back to watch a little more football then. But Le'Veon Bell and Ryan Tannehill are my losers just because of the fact that Ryan Tannehill, we don't know if he's going to be playing for a team next year, and Le'Veon Bell didn't get as much money as he was expecting. But the Jets are winners. Sam Darnold specifically and Derek Carr are winners because of the weapons that they just got. I don't want to say Pittsburgh because that's the usual. I'm not going to say the Giants because I know they lost Beckham. I know they still have Eli. And people are going to be like, what the hell is Gettleman doing? But all these teams have plans. The Giants are going to go back to old school Giant football. The Steelers, they're going to ride. They still have a Juju Smith. They still have a James Conner. They still have Big Ben.
They just signed Dante Moncrief. They drafted James Washington.
If there's one team that you don't know what is doing, it's the Miami Dolphins because they don't have a quarterback right now. That's the real.
It's tanking for Tua, bro.
Tua. Who knows if Tua's ever going to actually be the real answer? Who do you think is your winners and losers of free agency right now? Well, in Steve's case, there is no losers. There's no losers.
There's always got to be a loser. Now,
wow, that sounds so
listen,
nice.
if there's a winner, there's a loser. If there's good, there's bad.
Who wins in us? It usually is me, and you're the loser, right?
In what?
Everything.
In life, I'm the winner.
No.
Don't even get me started.
Delusional. There's a big problem.
You want to compare resumes?
Oh, I don't think you should. We got
to add everything in sports, jobs.
You were gifted with more athletic ability.
We're not talking about athletic ability.
Sports. You were gifted with more athletic ability. I'm more loved.
You are because you're a soft teddy bear. You're a soft teddy bear. I'm like a rock.
Yeah, you are like a rock.
Stiff like a rock.
No. Chill. But ladies and gentlemen, did you want to make your final point?
No, all I was going to say is...
I thought you wanted to make a final point.
As we know, free agency is going to extend throughout. There's still a lot of moves to be made. Like Steve said, maybe the Colts are looking for more
second-tier options.
Second-tier friendly contracts. Mm-hmm. Team-friendly contracts.
It's not the worst.
You don't win the Super Bowl this week in free agency. You don't win it in the draft. You win it in September, October, November, December.
The draft helps, obviously. That's why the Colts are in the position they are, because they have...
The Giants are losers right now, but if things work out in the draft...
You think so?
Players,
I don't.
I could say that now... Because if the draft picks don't pan out, then they're losers. Because,
like I said, the draft
you don't find guys like Beckham.
The Giants, you have to almost wait until not this draft, not next year's draft, but after next year's free agency, when they have $100 million in cap space. They got 12 draft picks this year, and next year they might have probably another high pick next year.
Who, the Giants?
Yeah. So the Giants, we have to wait for at least another year, a year and a half, to really figure out if the Giants are ultimately losers right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we are signing off. It's March Madness as well. We're going to be talking March Madness next week. Brackets come out this Sunday. Well, most exciting time of the year for us sports fans. Ain't Christmas time. It's March Madness time.
Oh, what was that thing you were hashtagging yesterday that we're trying to spread?
Oh, I want to start building our franchise. Build with Saquon. I'm going to hashtag that. I'm going to trademark it because if the New York Giants do become successful, I just want you to know that I was the first to start that trend. Build with Saquon. March Madness coming up. We'll talk that next week. We'll have some baseball. We'll have Joe join us to talk some baseball, as also preview show coming up for the MLB. We'll talk more NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. Enjoy St. Patty's Day as well. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics from Kanye, easy to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.